she lived loud, bright, and unapologetically. As the creative spark of TLC, she helped shape one of the biggest girl groups of the 90s with her fast, cutting rap style and bold personality. TLC sold over 70 million records, won Grammys, and became cultural icons. Lisa also had solo success, mentored new artists, and was known for her vibrant personality and fearless style.
What we decided to do was dedicate the third album to the fans, let them know that we got your mail. and this is sort of like our letter back to all of the fans, but except it's in audio form, it's an album.
But behind all the fame, her final weeks were filled with tragedy and a kind of darkness she just couldn't escape. In early April 2002, Lisa traveled to Honduras with friends and family for a month-long retreat at Dr. Sebi's Usha village. She wanted healing, clarity, and a break from chaos. But just days into the trip, something happened that shattered her emotionally. On April 6th, while her assistant Stephanie Patterson was driving their van near San Pedro Sula, a 10-year-old boy named Bayron Isol Fuentes Lopes suddenly stepped into the road. The impact was unavoidable. Lisa rushed over, held the boy's head in her lap, and tried to help as her group drove him to the hospital. He died the next day. The incident shook her deeply. She paid for the funeral, supported the family, and the boy's mother insisted Lisa wasn't to blame. But Lisa couldn't shake the feeling that something spiritual was happening to her. In footage later released in her documentary, she wondered if a spirit meant to take her life, but took the boy's instead. The coincidence of their shared last names, Lopes and Lopez, haunted her. She talked openly about feeling followed by something she couldn't explain. 19 days later, still carrying that emotional weight, Lisa was driving a rented Mitsubishi Montero Sport outside La Ceiba with several friends and her siblings. They were on a quiet rural road around 4:30 p.m. on April 25, 2002. As she attempted to pass another car, a truck came toward her in the opposite lane. She swerved hard, lost control, and the SUV veered off the road, hit two trees, and flipped several times. The crash was violent. Passengers were thrown from the windows. A documentary cameraman inside the car captured the final moments before impact. Lisa was killed instantly. The other passengers survived, though some were badly injured. Only after her death did people fully understand how heavy her spirit had been in those final weeks.
Lopez, who was not licensed, was driving a Mitsubishi SUV carrying 7 other passengers. Reports say she lost control of the vehicle while going too fast. Lopez suffered head trauma and died instantly.
Years before Honduras, Lisa had already lived through another public tragedy. In 1994, during a toxic and often abusive relationship with NFL star Andre Rison, she set fire to his sneakers in a bathtub after a heated argument. The flames spread and burned down his mansion, leading to felony arson charges and months in a halfway house. The incident became one of the most controversial moments of her career. He grew up in the James Weldon Johnson projects in Manhattan, raised by his grandmother and shaped by the streets around him. His stage name, short for Ghetto Dependent, reflected exactly where he came from. Music became his escape. After dropping early singles with Tape Kings, he caught his big break in 1998 when he met Sean Diddy Combs and signed a huge $350,000 5-album deal with Bad Boy Records. Almost immediately, G-DEP became part of the Bad Boy machine. He appeared on songs with Black Rob and built buzz fast. In 2001, he released his debut album, Child of the Ghetto, which entered the Billboard 200 and hit number 23 on the R&B hip-hop chart. The album delivered his biggest hit, Special Delivery, a track that climbed to number 3 on the Hot Rap Singles chart and turned him into one of the label's new stars. But the same environment that shaped him never fully let go. After his debut, things started falling apart. Coleman struggled with addiction, mainly to PCP, and the drug took him down a dark path. Between 2003 and 2010, he was arrested more than 25 times for everything from drug possession to theft. He entered rehab, joined Narcotics Anonymous, and kept trying to rebuild himself. He even released music again. But underneath all of that, something deeper was eating at him. For years, Coleman carried a secret he couldn't shake. On December 15, 2010, at age 36, he walked into a Harlem police station, not to report a crime, but to confess one. He told detectives that back in October 1993, he had tried to rob a man outside the Johnson houses. When the man fought back, Coleman pulled away and fired 3 shots into his chest before riding off on a bicycle and ditching the gun in the East River. He said he never knew if the man lived.
Then he like grabbed the gun, and it was kind of like a struggle. And I pulled the gun back from him, and then I fired 3 times.
Detectives were shocked, but the details matched an unsolved case: the killing of John Henkel, age 32, shot on that same Harlem corner with a .40 caliber gun. Coleman said guilt, and God pushed him to finally tell the truth. He had even tried confessing twice before, but officers assumed he was high. He was charged with second-degree murder and, despite inconsistencies in his memory, refused a plea deal. In 2012, he was convicted and sentenced to 15 years to life. For many, his confession was a rare act of conscience. In December 2023, Governor Kathy Hochul commuted his sentence, and by April 2024, G-DEP walked free after more than a decade behind bars. Born Darian Bailey, was known in Baton Rouge as one of the closest street affiliates of NBA YoungBoy and the 4KT Circle. He wasn't a rapper or an artist under YoungBoy's label. He was part of the inner crew, moving with them, living the lifestyle, and carrying the weight of the street reputation that came with it. Raised in poverty and surrounded by gangs, his life always leaned more toward the streets than anything else, and that path shaped everything that followed. Bailey's criminal history started shockingly early. At just 14, he took part in a violent home invasion in Baton Rouge that left 32-year-old Derek Mariano dead. According to testimony, Bailey, his brother Benjamin, and cousin Juan Herbert kicked in the door wearing ski masks. Juan carried an AK-47, Benjamin had a shotgun, and Bailey held a handgun. When the door flew open, they fired multiple shots, hitting Mariano in the torso, while his wife and daughter escaped through the back. All 3 were arrested and charged with second-degree murder. Bailey eventually took a plea to manslaughter and received a 10-year sentence, serving about 8 before being released around 2020. But freedom didn't pull him away from the streets. In 2018, he was accused of an attempted murder tied to a neighborhood beef. That case lingered for years until early September 2022, when he was finally arrested. A judge set his bond at $300,000, and Bailey posted it within days. What happened next became the most defining moment of his life.
Thugging in my section, hold on. Know what it is, fresh out that place, how I'm playing, man.
What that is?
On September 19th, 2022, a Baton Rouge detective noticed Bailey sitting in a Nissan with dark tint, wearing a mask and hoodie in hot weather. After another man, Larry Harris, got into the passenger seat, the officer attempted a stop. Bailey sped off, starting a high-speed chase across the city, pushing the car over 100 miles per hour. Witnesses said the chase cut through neighborhoods like a storm waiting to hit. At an intersection near Acadian Thruway, Bailey slammed into 2 vehicles in a school zone. The impact threw Larry Harris through the windshield, killing him instantly. Innocent bystanders were also injured, their car destroyed. Police later found weapons and a ski mask inside Bailey's vehicle.
Mangled metal and car fragments are all that's left after Darian Bailey refused to stop for police and slammed into a car on Winborn Monday afternoon.
Bailey was hit with multiple charges, but in July 2025, he accepted a plea: 5 years for negligent homicide and 5 for weapons possession. On November 4th, 2025, he was officially sentenced to 10 years in state prison. Born Eric Baker, was a small-time rapper out of Lake City, Florida. He wasn't signed, but he had a little buzz on SoundCloud with songs like From the Block and a G Herbo feature that gave him some attention. Still, he wasn't mainstream, and most of his life was tied to the streets. By his early 20s, he had several suspensions on his license, no valid driver's license at all, and he was already on probation. On top of that, he had an active felony warrant for drug possession. All of this mattered on the night everything went wrong. On July 26, 2024, Gainesville police pulled Baker over for 2 small violations, running a stop bar and having illegal tints. Nothing major. If he had stayed put, he probably would have gotten a warning or a ticket. But Baker knew what the police didn't. He was on probation, driving with a suspended license for years, and had a felony warrant waiting. So the moment officers walked toward the car, he made a split-second decision. He hit the gas and took off. Police didn't chase him, but Baker drove like they did. He pushed the Infiniti Q50S to around 111 miles per hour through city streets. Just a couple minutes later, as he blasted down Northwest 10th Avenue, he ran a red light at full speed. Christopher Alvord, a 20-year-old who had moved to Gainesville from Kansas, was driving through the intersection with the green light. He never saw it coming. The impact killed him instantly. His family later learned of his death on what should have been his birthday. Inside Baker's car, 3 passengers were badly hurt, including Jacksonville rapper Robbie Cohen, who suffered a traumatic brain injury. Baker himself injured his ankle, but instead of helping anyone, he jumped out of the wreck and tried to run. Police found him hiding in a nearby yard, with weapons and a ski mask still inside the vehicle. He was arrested and hit with multiple felonies. A year later, in August 2025, Baker accepted a plea deal. The prosecutor made it clear, Baker wasn't drunk or confused. He was fully aware of what he was doing. The judge sentenced him to 15 years in state prison, followed by 10 years of probation. With time served, he won't be free again until around 2039. Born Justin Clark Samuel, came up in Stratford, East London. He grew up in a tough area, dipped in street life early, even serving time as a teen for car-related crimes. But when he came home in the early 2000s, he rebuilt himself as a grime MC named Ghetto, later GHETTS. He became a respected pioneer, dropping classic mixtapes like 2000 and Life, joining NASTY crew, forming the movement, earning BET and Mercury Prize nominations, winning MOBO awards, acting in Netflix's Supercell, touring worldwide, and becoming one of grime's most important voices. By 2025, he was viewed as a veteran finally getting his flowers.
Yo, I weren't even expecting this, you know, I'll be honest with you. First and foremost, I have to thank God.
But on October 18th, 2025, everything changed. That night, around 11:33 p.m., 20-year-old Yubin Tamang was walking down Redbridge Lane East in Ilford. Tamang had moved from Nepal to study at the University of Roehampton. He was an only child, described by friends as gentle, focused, and a huge hip-hop fan. He had no idea a high-speed BMW M5 was coming toward him. According to CCTV and witness accounts, GHETTS was driving that BMW at extremely high speed. When he struck Tamang, the impact threw the young man roughly 70 feet into the air. The force was brutal. Instead of stopping, calling for help, or checking on Tamang, GHETTS kept driving. It was a hit and run that shocked everyone who heard the details. Police quickly identified the vehicle, likely through CCTV or witness information, and arrested GHETTS at his Woodford home in the early hours of October 19th. Tamang was rushed to the hospital in critical condition, but the injuries were too severe. He died 2 days later, on October 20th. The loss crushed his family. They had sent their only son to the UK for a better future, only to receive news of his death. At a later court appearance, a relative managed only a few words through tears. "He was my brother, a very good person." On October 24th, GHETTS appeared in court charged with causing serious injury by dangerous driving. After Tamang's death, prosecutors upgraded the charge to causing death by dangerous driving. On October 27th, GHETTS appeared again, quiet, wearing a gray tracksuit, speaking only to confirm his details. He was remanded into custody, where he remains while the case moves toward trial. Born Rayleigh Freeman, was a 17-year-old rising rapper from Suffolk, Virginia. He lived with his mother, Monica Savage, who raised him alone and supported his music dreams. RYLO was building a small buzz online, over 27,000 Instagram followers, a growing TikTok presence, and songs like Money Getta, Hellcats SRTs, and Get Clapped. His music leaned heavily into trap themes: guns, money, street life, and fast cars. On social media, he often posed with firearms, treating them like props, even though his mother later said she had no idea he had access to a gun. On the night of May 15, 2024, RYLO was at home filming a TikTok-style music video, something he did often. That night, he had a handgun with a green laser and flashlight attached. Where he got it is still unclear. Police say it was a real tactical pistol, not a prop. In the video, RYLO dances and raps into the camera, holding the gun like a fashion accessory. He flashes it, points it toward the camera, then toward himself. His behavior in the clip makes it clear he didn't think it would fire. At one point, he even switches off the safety, not realizing he just removed the only thing keeping the gun from going off. His last words on camera were, "F y'all ninjas," as he kept rapping with the gun in his hand. Seconds later, RYLO pointed the pistol at the side of his head, put his finger on the trigger, and the gun discharged. The shot hit him instantly. He collapsed out of frame as the phone dropped with him. The video, unfortunately, spread quickly online before police could contain it. His mother wasn't home when it happened. When she walked in and found her only child lying on the floor in a pool of blood, she panicked, running out of the house so fast she almost got hit by a car. Emergency responders rushed RYLO to the hospital, but by the time he arrived, the wound was fatal. He was pronounced dead later that night. Police ruled the shooting an accidental self-inflicted gunshot wound. They found no sign of no note, no history of attempts, just a teenager mishandling a loaded gun while making content. Detectives continued searching his phone to confirm the timeline and determine how he got the firearm. His family planned a private funeral on May 24th, 9 days after the tragic accident. Born Deshaun Robertson, was a young Dallas rapper known for raw street energy, heavy gun themes, and a fast rise from viral fame to a major label deal. His breakout track, 6 Lock 6 a 6Y, turned him into a national name at just 18, earning millions of streams and a gold certification. He came from a single mother home, lost his older brother to murder at 15, and poured that pain into his music. By 2020, he was signed to Epic Records and making real noise in rap. But everything changed on October 25th, 2020. That afternoon, Lil Loaded was hanging out with his best friend, 18-year-old Khalil Savage Boozy Walker, outside Walker's home in Dallas. They were recording content and working on music like they'd always done. Loaded had a rifle with him, something normal in his world. According to police records, Walker was filming on his phone when it happened. The camera caught the moment the rifle went off and hit Walker in the torso. Walker's sister heard 2 gunshots from inside the house, ran out, and found him bleeding in the street. Before paramedics arrived, she checked his phone, saw the video, and realized Lil Loaded was the one who fired the shot. Loaded and another friend rushed Walker to the hospital, but the injury was too severe. Walker died shortly after. Days later, an arrest warrant was issued. On November 9, 2020, Lil Loaded turned himself in. He insisted it was an accident, saying Walker was like a brother to him. His bond was first set at $500,000, then dropped to $75,000, and he was eventually released with fewer restrictions. Months later, a grand jury reduced the charge from murder to manslaughter, agreeing there was no malice, no intent to kill. It matched what everyone close to them already knew. They were best friends, and it was a tragic mistake. As the court date approached, Lil Loaded seemed stressed but hopeful. His lawyer said he was mentally preparing and believed their defense was strong. But on May 31, 2021, just 2 days before he was due back in court, Loaded posted a heartbreaking message to Instagram asking God for forgiveness. Later that day, at only 20 years old, Lil Loaded died from a self-inflicted gunshot wound.